Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Oh boy. Well, we're going to listen to an update that recently came out because Donald Trump is trying to fight birthright citizenship in the Supreme Court. And right now, it's no final decision made, but on this one, I would not be shocked if they lean in the direction of Donald Trump. Number one, it's a very conservative Supreme Court. Most of the justices are Republican picks. So it would not be far-fetched for Donald Trump to get what he wants. So what he's basically saying is the 14th Amendment was used to justify all these foreigners coming in, and it should not have been applied to them. And on top of that, the Native Americans, it's in question whether they're even citizens, you know, because Donald Trump knows they came in here from somewhere else. They are not the original people of the land. So that is also before the Supreme Court. It will change everything. This will be a big game changer in the country if Donald Trump wins this particular case. I think there's what, 24 million immigrants in this country, legal and illegal, about 24 million. So it will be a major game changer for real. And I don't know if any of you heard, but ICE has been picking up Puerto Ricans, and some of them have been stuck in detention centers for several weeks sometimes before they realize they got to let them go. I said, well, more than likely, y'all were probably out somewhere speaking in Spanish and they heard that mess, because that is one of the reason why they pick people up. They hear you out in public speaking in Spanish. And in all honesty, when you look at many of you, you can't tell whether you're some Puerto Rican or Colombian or Dominican or El Salvadorian. We don't know what you are. And look, many of us don't even know. We can't look at you and tell if you are from South America or somewhere else. So I know ICE can't tell. So they just hear Spanish and they just assume you might be illegal. So, yes, is it profiling? Yes, it most certainly is. But profiling was never a problem when it was happening to us. But now that it's happening to some of you other people, all of a sudden it's some major problem now. Hey, it is what it is. And you remember, Donald Trump said himself, most ICE agents are Hispanic. So it's your own people doing this stuff to you. So, y'all, let's get to it. Let me share my screen. Whoop. All right. Give me a one if you can see my screen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Here's the update on birthright citizenship. The Supreme Court was very skeptical of Trump's arguments. that the 14th Amendment does not apply to every human being who's born in the United States. Only certain people who are subject to the jurisdiction of would become U.S. citizens at birth. Multiple reports are saying that the justices of the Supreme Court across the board questioned the administration's position and did not sound eager to overturn birthright citizenship precedent. So what does this mean? It means this is not looking like an easy win for Trump, because even the conservative justices, based on reports, were not on board. Chief Justice John Roberts questioned the legal foundation and practical consequences of Trump's position. Neil Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett, also conservative judges, raised concerns about how this would actually work in practice and whether the interpretation even makes sense that not every child born in the United States is a U.S. citizen. So that's huge when conservative justices start questioning your theory. It means the argument is on shaky ground to begin with. And of course, liberal judges pushed even harder. Ketanji Brown Jackson challenged both the history and real-world consequences of overturning birthright citizenship. Justice Sonia Sotomayor pointed directly.
I can't believe this is actually happening, but the Supreme Court just agreed to hear President Trump's case on ending birthright citizenship. And this could redefine what it means to be an American citizen. Trump's order, if you remember, says that kids born in the United States to illegal immigrants or short-term visitors shouldn't automatically get citizenship. Now, immediately lawsuits hit, claiming it violates the 14th Amendment, specifically the phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof. I mean, that's the entire fight, really. Does it mean anyone physically here for 5 minutes, or people who actually owe full political allegiance to the United States? Now, for context, the 14th Amendment was written in 1868 to guarantee citizenship to freed slaves, not to answer modern questions about illegal immigration or birth tourism. And the big court case that everyone seems to cite dealt with parents who were here legally and permanently living here, not people who were here unlawfully or temporarily. Pure research, this one's pretty wild, says that births to unauthorized immigrants used to hit around 755,000 people a year. I mean, that's roughly 7% of all U.S. births. I mean, that's why it matters. This ruling could reshape immigration incentives, taxpayer costs, and border policy overnight. So the Supreme Court will now decide, is automatic citizenship for everyone born here truly required by the Constitution, or is America overdue for a reset? Whatever they choose.
Ending birthright citizenship will be a difficult and lengthy process. President Trump signed an executive order that says any woman in the United States unlawfully who gives birth to a child and that father is not a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, that baby will not be considered a U.S. citizen. It also says that any woman who comes to the United States as a visitor or as a student or for business or through the visa waiver program, these are folks who are lawful here in the United States with a visa, also gives birth to a child during that lawful time here in the United States, but yet the father is not a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, that child is not a U.S. citizen. This executive order goes into effect, or it applies to babies who are born 30 days after the order. It directs federal agencies from recognizing the child as a U.S. citizen, and it also says that state and local governments who recognize these babies, the U.S. federal government will not agree with them. The ACLU was ready to go on day one with a lawsuit. They filed a lawsuit the same day in the U.S. District Court of New Hampshire, and they're asking the judge to declare the executive order illegal or unlawful. They're also asking that the judge put in place an injunction to stop this executive order. We're covering a lot of things related to the new policies under President Trump. Follow for more.
The Supreme Court just gave Donald Trump the green light to end birthright citizenship in parts of the country. Yeah, you heard that correctly. For over 150 years, if you were born on U.S. soil, you were automatically a citizen. Well, not anymore, not everywhere at least. In a 6-3 ruling, Justice Amy Coney Barrett wrote that Trump's executive order won't kick in for 30 days, but once it does, everything changes. No more automatic citizenship for babies born to illegals and tourists without green cards. The left are losing their minds over this, claiming it's unconstitutional. But here's the kicker. SCOTUS didn't even rule on whether Trump's move is legal yet. They just said federal judges can't block laws nationwide anymore with these ridiculous universal injunctions. And let's be honest, Trump's not just rewriting immigration policy, he's reasserting presidential power. The media's spinning it, but this is a major win for America first. Comment below. Do you think birthright citizenship?
The Supreme Court just made a decision on birthright citizenship, but it's not what you think. The decision was about judicial power, not birthright citizenship. Trump's day one executive order said no citizenship for any baby born in the United States unless one of those parents is a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. Lower courts shut it down everywhere. They gave nationwide injunctions saying this is illegal. The Supreme Court said to the federal judge, hang on, you can't block a policy everywhere. You could only block a policy for those people who sued. That means in 22 states who sued, Trump's birthright citizenship ban is still blocked. But for those who are born outside of those 22 states, the ban can start after July 27th unless there's a new lawsuit for those 28 states. Expect new class action lawsuits that'll cover those 28 states. But if you give birth in one of those 28 states, you have to know to join the class action lawsuit, or your child's not a U.S. citizen. Those 22 states, the ban can start after July 27th unless there's a new lawsuit for those 28 states. Expect new class action lawsuits that'll cover those 28 states. But if you give birth in one of those 28 states, you have to know to join the class action lawsuit, or your child's not a U.S. citizen.
So they're talking about getting rid of birthright citizenship, but they're also talking about like denaturalizing a bunch of people that were already born here and that are already American, right? I looked up the statistics. It's about 9% of the population, that's 27 million people, are like naturalized citizens. They were born here, they are a citizen. Okay. And then I looked up the Republican statistics. About 46% of the voters are Republican. 46. That's not a majority. If you add that 9%, like if you took away the 9% that they would think that would vote Democratic, you get 55. So if you took away that 9% population, then maybe somebody can construe that as they could possibly get the majority by getting rid of that 9%, filling the gap with the Republicans that are already there. So just saying, it's 7% of our actual population, 9% of the voting population. You think they're trying to swing the midterms or anything like that? Maybe. Okay, bye.
Go back where you came from. That includes you too.
Hey, I am legal here, ma'am.
I don't care about legal or illegal. Denaturalization can happen.
Yes, I understand.
Go home. Everybody, go home.
Who is the
Everybody. You know, because you ain't from you. The original picture look like me. Sick of y'all too cold out here. Go to America only.
Are these yours?
1865, no.
Okay,
If you ain't been here since 1865, go on and sit down. Go sit down. We don't need to talk to you. We don't need your help. We don't need your service. Go.
All right.
Ain't no white supremacy. American supremacy.
Yeah, hi. Black dude here. Black dude. Slave black. My ancestors were slaves in this country. The 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship, was written for them. And I'm a beneficiary of it because my ancestors were slaves. And I argue against birthright citizenship for illegals and people who want to do it the wrong way. So what does that make me? Because I'm pretty sure I'm not a Klan member. I would fail the entrance interview for it. Matter of fact, as soon as I walked in the door, they'd be like, turn around and get out. So what does that make me? And why are you just attributing that to the Klan? By the way, speaking of the Klan, they were being funded by the Southern Poverty Law Center, which their board is made up of all black folks. So what does that say about them too? I got questions, bro. I got questions. Maybe you can answer them for me, since you seem to be the authority on all things Klan related and things. Let me know. Zeke Arkham, got you 6. Bye.
right? Because it's America. It's the United States of America you want. So for all you motherfucking Caribbeans talking about the Americas, stop playing with us. You know what we're talking about. We're talking about those countries that fall under the United States Constitution. You don't. So we're not doing the America shit when we're talking about birthright citizenship, right? Any illegal, legal, or naturalized alien should have had the wherewithal to create their own pathways to citizenship. Therefore, when another group's and ethnic groups birthright citizenship ends, it doesn't affect them, right? But because they did not do, they are not innovators. They do not create anything from necessity, the need to have it, right? They never thought that anything like this would happen, but it has. So again, we are hoping that birthright citizenship in these United States of America ends. And then y'all can go and start it wherever the fuck you want to. Go start it in Africa, Haiti, the Caribbean islands, anywhere but here. Take your ass home.
Arguments for birthright citizenship are over. I'm going to discuss the highlights from the oral arguments.
Is every baby born in the United States an automatic citizen of the United States? That was the question in front of the Supreme Court today. And the answer is, for more than 150 years, yeah. Under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, it says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. On top of that, the Supreme Court ruled in the 1800s that, yep, all babies born in the United States are citizens of the United States. And Congress has passed 2 separate laws saying the exact same thing. But President Trump is now arguing that people who are in this country illegally or are in this country legally but only temporarily are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States because they are domiciled in or their allegiance is to another country. Well, domicile was definitely the word of the day during today's 2 hours of oral arguments. Even this conservative supermajority who likes to look at the Constitution based on what was happening at the time it was written had a really hard time squaring that domicile circle. And I'm going to get to the wonky domicile argument in a second because you need to understand it. But first, I want to talk about the political argument the Trump administration is trying to make and how it landed with the justices. Now, one of the reasons the Trump administration is using to justify taking away birthright citizenship is because of what they see as a huge problem, which is, of course, not only the fact that illegal immigrants are coming to this country and having babies, but also because of this new industry of birth tourism. They see it as a real problem, meaning pregnant foreigners come to the United States on purpose so they can take advantage of the 14th Amendment and give birth to their baby on U.S. soil so their baby has U.S. citizenship. Now, even the chief
All right. Well, this fight ain't over, y'all. This fight ain't over. And, you know, it can go either way. But in my opinion, Donald Trump has a great chance of getting his way, only because of the Supreme Court, mostly conservative. Yeah, they're going to question things. They're judges. So, of course, they're going to naturally have questions. But we'll see when the final decision comes through, because if they rule in favor of Donald Trump, things are going to dramatically change in this country. It's going to dramatically change. And people that thought they were here and were going to be allowed to be here permanently, they won't be able to stay. So it is going to be, it's going to be interesting, but it's also going to be a game changer in the country, for real. It'll be a definite shift if this goes through. So y'all, thank you so much for being here. I already have so far 2 lives that are scheduled for tomorrow. So we're going to be talking about one, the Georgia fires. I don't know if any of you heard. Georgia, especially the southern part of Georgia, is on fire. I mean, these massive fires. And yes, it is also hitting the sundown towns. Okay. So we will talk about that tomorrow. And reparations. There are now white people coming forward and they're saying, America should have paid the reparations. The country would be better off right now had America paid reparations. And so some of them are really getting it now. You know, they may not have gotten it before, but they are definitely getting it now. So, y'all, I will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening and be on the lookout for my lives tomorrow. Shalom, family.